All right, time for some more iPhone cinema. We're going to do some multi-view drawing. And we're going to draw some of these objects right here. I've picked out number 3 and I've gone on and counted the measurements and noted them on the drawing. So a multi-view object is when you're drawing a flat, two-dimensional orthographic view of an object and you're showing it from 3 different sides. So I want to look at it from the front, from the top, and from the right side. And when you're doing this, take your notebook and turn it landscape so you have room to lay out the views. And you want to kind of think of it as having 4 quadrants. And I'm just going to put a little light line in here just so I can kind of bisect my paper into 4 quadrants. So in the lower left is where you put the front view of the object. And then you rotate it to the top and draw that view over here. And then from the front view, you rotate it to the right side and draw that view here. This area up here is where you would put an isometric pictorial. But we're going to do something called right angle projection, so we're actually going to be drawing projection lines across the paper. That's because it cuts down on mistakes and it speeds up your work because you're not duplicating the same measurements over and over, you're just reusing measurements you've already made. So I'm going to start by just kind of drawing an imaginary glass box that this object would fit in. So it's 5 tall and 8 wide. So I'm just going to draw a little box that's 5 by 8 down here. I'm going to start down here in this lower left corner. Give myself plenty of room. Here's my starting point. I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's my top corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so there's that sort of the outline of my object. And if it's that tall and that wide in the front view, when I look at it from the top, it's going to have this same length or width, whichever you want to call it, looking at it from the top. And this is the height right here. If I rotate it from the side, it's going to have the same height over here. So since I've just measured that once, rather than measuring here and measuring there, I'm just going to take that measurement and project it up into the top view. And then I'm going to take that same measurement and project it over here to the right side view. This ensures all my views are in alignment and all the measurements match up. Okay. No, lines are probably hard to see on the paper. I'm trying to make them light because we'll darken them in later. So right here, this width, it's 5 wide. If I'm looking at it over here, it's going to be 5 wide. And if I'm looking at it from the top, it's going to be 5 wide. I'm going to do something called right angle projection. When I come over here, I'll just pick this point and start right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how wide it's going to be. And there's my projection line right there. I'm going to take this width, project it up and over at a right angle. I have a 45-degree triangle. You can do it with or without this, because when I line this triangle up with my graph paper, essentially, it's going to bisect all those little squares. My spirals on the binding are getting in the way, but I'll try to get it lined up as well as I can. Okay, and I'm just going to pull a 45-degree angle line right there. Okay, and I'm going to take this width, project it up, and when it hits here, it's going to bounce over at a right angle. That's why it's called right angle projection. And then right where it intersects on that projection line, I'll pull it over here. This one intersected right there. I'll pull it over that way. So now I also have the layout over here. So I have my top, my right side, my front, my right side, and my top view right there. And I've just made light layout lines for the overall dimensions, but you can also do this for individual features, okay? So if I'm looking at how far over this little feature goes, okay? It's basically a cube that's 3 by 3 that goes into the object right there. This little top part comes over 3. So I can see that from the front, and it would be right here. And then it would go down to right there, okay? Connect that part right there. And I can begin darkening some of this in. This little part I see from the side, just gonna go right there, okay? So now I've got enough of it drawn, I'm gonna start darkening in some of the layout of this object. Hopefully it's dark enough you can see it well. So that's what that thing looks like from the front. Now if I'm going back up here to the top, I'm looking at this part and this part, okay? Well, I've already measured this part. So I'm just going to use my straight edge and project it up right there. And I've already measured where this part is. So I'm gonna use this straight edge and project it up right there. So far, I can darken in this. Darken that right there. And this part, I can darken in. I'm gonna hold off on the rest of it because I have to look down at that part right there. Okay, and I will have this part darkened right there. All right, so looking at it over here from the side, looking at it from right here, I'm going to see these 4 corners and these 4 corners. So it's going to look like a square and a square. So I'm going to go ahead and darken that in. I've already got the height laid out right here. No need to measure twice. I'll just project over, okay? What I'm missing, however, is this little width. But if I start at that corner, it goes over 3. 1, 2, 3, right there. And it comes up and meets that line that I just projected over, okay? So that's what I see looking at it from the right side. Now, since I have this width right here, I can project at a right angle up and over to bring it over to the top view. So I'm going to shoot a projection line to right there and then pull it over here, okay? And then since I shot this projection line up there, I can extend it out, and then I have the corner of it right there, okay? And I know that looking at it from the top, I'm going to see this rectangle, I'm going to see that square, okay? So basically, I've already got that laid out. Okay, so now I have my front, top, and side view, okay? All these lines project and carry the measurements from one view to another, so they're all in alignment. And this area, if we were doing mechanical drafting, is where I would have the shaded isometric pictorial right there.